It's the new Tokina 11-18mm wide-angle lens for Sony APS-C cameras. And today we'll put it on test next to the Tamron 11-20mm f2.8 so you make up your mind which lens suits you the best. I'm excited to check the image quality and performance out of these two lenses. Tokina is originally selling at $600 and Tamron at $820. These lenses are sometimes on sale. I dropped some links down below, check it out if you're interested. The two lenses are made for Sony APS-C cameras, and make sure to not buy any of them for your full frame by mistake. Indeed it works, but you will lose resolution and sometimes sharpness. That's a different story. Omahi, and let's get started. Tokina reached out to me and said, "Hey Oma, would you like to try our new lens?" I said, "Okay, let's give it a shot." I'm not getting paid to say anything in specific and my review is completely unbiased. And I will drive the lens through an intensive test. I had a good experience with many of Tokina lenses in the past, and I see that they are not quite known in the market as other brands, but they got decent lenses. So when getting both lenses in hand, they feel the same weight. And in fact, they are. Tamron, including the lens hood, weighs about 355 grams, 12.52 ounces. And Tokina with the same setup is 354 grams, 12.49 ounces. Never mind, they got the same weight. And from here, we start seeing more differences. I own a couple of Tamron lenses, and eventually they all suffer from the same build to quality problem. Except the G2, Tamron bodies are very sensitive to get scratches and dents. This lens isn't used so much in the last year. See, there are many wears and tears here and there. This is another Tamron lens that I use so much more. And this is how it looks like after 2 years. On the other hand, Tokina build quality feels remarkably better. I don't see such a potential problem here. The material feels totally different and I like it more, to be honest. Anyway, at the widest aperture, 11mm, Tamron becomes a lot larger. Tokina did expand in fact, but not that much. Okay, each lens reacts differently, but how comes that will affect my workflow? Nice question, and I got an interesting answer for you. Think gimbal. Lenses that expand too much affect the gimbal balance. Although good gimbals can deal with it to a certain point and rebalance itself, but will drain the gimbal batteries so much faster. Now both lenses share the same filter size, 67mm. I found myself more comfortable when using Tokina zoom ring. See here, I can zoom all the way in and out with one hand grip, while I struggle a bit when doing the same action with Tamron. That's my user experience feedback and I think it should be highlighted. On the other hand, Tokina features Type-C port if you wish to update the lens firmware in the future. I got the lenses out for Cityscape Photography in Dubai. This place is full of skyscrapers. And you know what? Nothing better than wide-angle lenses here. I shot at f2.2, sometimes at f4 and 5.6. Bear in mind, nothing better than narrow aperture for such cityscape photography. I mean like f4 and 5.6. Images are indeed sharper than f2.8. The first factor I noticed when checking the images from both lenses is there is a third stop difference in exposure, even though f2.8 is used on both lenses. At the time of this video, there is no lens correction profile for this Tokina lens in Adobe Lightroom Classic. Of course, will be one sooner or later. However, I found the closest correction profile for this lens is Tokina atx-11-16mm f2.8. All images you see are color graded with these same settings. But wanna see how they look like before? See, here's before and now after. Cool. At f2.8 11mm, I see Tokina is a bit sharper in the center and shares a slightly more sharpness on the sides. Another example at f4 11mm. And as I'm zooming to a couple of spots here and there, both images look sharp to me. I see when shooting against a bright backlight, Tokina has a slight color fringing at some point. However, there is an easy trick in Adobe Lightroom that can remove unwanted fringing. See here is before and now after. And this is another example at 11mm f4. Well, I did my best to capture the same frame handheld. I see Tokina is sharper at some point, and I don't see any remarkable chromatic aberration this time. I believe that color fringing would only show against a bright backlight. Capturing skyscrapers with wide-angle lenses is a bit tricky. If any of the lenses have severe distortion, the images will look awful. You need to check different angles, and sometimes moving few steps offers you a completely different composition. Take your time and do your best. Tokina tends to be more compact than Tamron, but Tamron has a bit more reach. Tokina goes from 11 to 18mm and Tamron from 11 to 20mm. That's equivalent to 16.5 to 27mm for Tokina on full frame and 16.5mm to 30mm for Tamron on full frame. And the question here, is there too much of a difference between 18 and 20mm? Let's see. Here we get Tokina and now Tamron. Of course Tamron has more reach. You're the one who is able to make a decision. Do you need extra zoom, or saving a few $100s is a better deal for you? Although wide-angle lenses aren't made for portraiture, they can create a very unique look that you currently see with the smartphone cameras. Here at 11mm, I captured images on both lenses, Tokina and Tamron at f2.8. The images you see here are color graded with my Lightroom presets. For example, here is the before and now with a preset applied. If you like some of the themes you see here, head off to omagumrawi.com/store and to check them out. So technically, I don't recommend getting too close to the model with a super wide angle lens. Here for example, 11mm versus 20mm f2.8. There are too many differences. Consider the distortion, look, and compositing. When capturing wide-angle portrait, it's packed with a story and tells more about the surrounding. Eventually, the two lenses did great. However, Tamron got a 2mm more reach, and I don't think it would make a big difference anyway. I noticed when zooming in with Tokina that I see weird jiggle effect when zooming in and out really quick. Did you get my point? It's only in the process between zooming in and out. It disappears when you reach the focal length. I never use zoom in or out in my shots, and if you are that guy too, it doesn't matter though. So I turned off the auto distortion correction feature in my 6600 camera, and it works fine. This weird jiggle effect, totally gone. It seems that Tokina has no lens profile correction in my camera yet. I hope Sony release a new firmware update very soon. On the other hand, Tamron got a sense of similar issue, but at a lower level. I finished filming and editing the review already, but I missed testing the two lenses in vlogging. So here we got Tokina at 11mm f2.8, and now this is 18mm f2.8. Now it's Tamron 20mm f2.8, and this is 11mm Tamron f2.8. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below, and if you prefer one lens over the other for vlogging. Autofocus performance is a major factor in every lens. Bad autofocus will make me ignore some lenses significantly. Now, when testing both lenses in real world, I noticed that they have different autofocus behaviors, but both of them work as expected. Now here in the studio, we'll get the two lenses tested in more like controlled environment. And let's see if there is any difference. First we get Tokina in still photography. I will be focusing on the subject in the foreground and switch the focus to the background. In my perspective, I see there is not much of a difference in autofocus speed in still photography between the two lenses. They look pretty much the same. Now jumping to the video autofocus. First, here is Tokina. Camera autofocus speed is set to fast and responsive. Tokina autofocus looks smooth and seamless. And when checking Tamron, I see a faster autofocus performance. However, Tokina performance is more acceptable for my eyes, it goes more smoothly. And eventually the two lenses act in two different ways. Now when it comes to the minimum focus distance, Tokina can focus up to 19cm 7.5 inches and Tamron can do a shorter distance at 15cm 5.9 inches. But the difference doesn't really matter in the real world, unless you like to get shots like this one and find the 4cm closer distance with Tamron fits your style. The two lenses are great in capturing such a crystal ball in my hand, and I don't think you need a closer focus distance than this example. I never shoot people very close, they look pretty awful on wide-angle lenses. Tokina features 13 elements in 11 groups, and Tamron 12 elements in 10 groups. Shallow depth of field isn't special on wide-angle lenses at all, but here we get some examples of both lenses at 18mm versus 20mm. Now at 11mm f2.8, we get Tokina on the right and Tamron on the left. First, I noticed that Tokina 11mm is a bit wider than the same 11mm on Tamron. At f2.8 in the center, Tokina is a bit sharper than Tamron, while Tamron sharpness is a step up at sides and corners. At f4, both lenses share a close sharpness in the center, and I see Tokina is a bit sharper at corners. All images captured on a tripod with a shutter release remote. Now at f5.6, I see both lenses feature similar sharpness quality, whether in the center, sides, or corners. f8 Tokina is slightly softer than Tamron. Both lenses at f11 are much softer than any other wide aperture. I don't recommend anyone using f11 and f16 on both lenses. It's clear that every lens has some advantages over the other one. Personally, I will get probably Tokina as it has a better build quality, similar image quality, and a lot cheaper. Don't get me wrong, the two lenses are pretty good. It's your decision by the end of the day. I hope this video helped in making your decision. Thank you for watching, guys. Show me a thumbs up if you found this very helpful, and bump that subscribe button for more camera gear reviews. This was Oma, and see you in another one.